We're up to week 3 now, and in week 3 we're going to look specifically at Matthew 8 and 9. If in Matthew 5 through 7 we looked at the Sermon on the Mount and we looked at teaching material, Jesus' ethical imperatives in wisdom form, now we're looking at 2 chapters that emphasize the many miracles Jesus did, like raising Jairus' daughter or healing the woman with a hemorrhage and so on. So let's talk about miracles if we can. In the Synoptic Gospels, which is Matthew, Mark, and Luke, miracles are actually not called miracles. They're called dunamis, mighty works, powerful activities of a divine person or with divine power that changes people's lives. It's not normal or natural activity. It's something that goes back beyond the norm, beyond what is natural, to say the least. So what are we really talking about here? Well, we're talking, according to Jesus, about the activity of God's Spirit that can help and heal and rescue and even save. Those kinds of things are called miracles. And there are several different kinds of miracles in the gospel. First of all, there are nature miracles. For example, turning water into wine, withering a fig tree, walking on water. Control of inanimate matter is a miracle. And indeed, we're going to hear about that in various ways and in various places. We're even going to hear that Peter steps out on the waters of the Sea of Galilee and briefly walks before he becomes afraid. So nature miracles are one of the kinds of miracles that Jesus does. But a very prominent kind of miracle that you actually don't find in the Gospel of John, but it is in various places in Matthew, Mark, and Luke, is exorcisms, dealing with demonic possession, a very prevalent form of miracle that Jesus performed, and it got him in trouble with the authorities. They accused him of being in league with the devil, and Jesus, of course, says, if I was in league with the devil, I'd be sending demons into people, not exorcising them out of. So this makes no sense. A house divided against itself cannot stand, says Jesus. A third kind of miracles are what we were perhaps most familiar with, would be healing miracles, the healing of even drastic problems like blindness. Now, you'll look in vain in the Old Testament to find any examples of somebody who is blind being healed of their blindness. Isaiah promises that there will come an eschatological day when the blind shall see, but there are no instances in the Old Testament of the healing of blindness. But we certainly have those stories told both in the Synoptics and in the Gospel of John. And one of the things about this miracle is that some early Jews said that if you find someone who can heal a man born blind, well, you've found the Messiah. So this kind of miracle was very, very notable and caused a lot of stir in early Judaism. So there are healing miracles, but there are also the raising of the dead, and there are multiple stories about this. In Luke, we have the unique story of the raising of the widow of Nain's son. In John, we have the unique story of the raising of Lazarus. In the Synoptics, we have the story of the raising of Jairus' daughter as well. So in all of the layers of the gospel tradition, we hear about Jesus raising the dead. But what does that really amount to? Why then did Paul say that Jesus was the first fruits of the resurrection later on? Well, what's happening is Jesus is bringing them back to life into a normal, natural, mortal life. All of these people went on to die again. I'm not an archaeologist, nor do I play one on TV. But if I wanted to find one thing above all, I'd love to find Lazarus' tombstone. It would say, died 28 AD, and then after that it would say, died 43 AD. All of the raisings of Jesus during the ministry are raisings back to this life, to mortality. Jesus is the first one raised from the dead that has a resurrection body, immune to disease, decay, and death, suffering, sin, and sorrow. Many different kinds of miracles, but all from one power source, the Lord God Almighty.